Hello, welcome back to Design Elements and Principles. We'll get rolling. I'm going to be rolling pretty quick today. We got an extra lecture, but it's worth it. It's one of my favorite subjects ever. Let's do our general house cleaning. We are now in a session 4. Everything from session 2 is due today at 11:59 p.m. It is all there. Your dates are there. Your times are there for 3/25 at 11:59 p.m. Make sure you get it turned in. I have graded everything from that was turned in appropriately on time. Anything that wasn't turned in on time, as you know from the grading rubric, there is a late grade reduction. Don't forget to do your peer reviews. Think of that as extra credit. You know what I'm saying? And you should be looking at what other people do. You should be blown away by what other people do and being like, oh yeah, holy cow, look what they did. I gotta up my game. They're doing better than me. I can do better. Why am I just doing it like this? I saw what they did. I love it. That's part of what discussions are about. Seeing what your peers are doing, checking that stuff out. So yeah, just know anything late. And then by the end of next week, this will start happening. By the end of Tuesday of next week, the session will just close out and you can't do anything about it anymore. So 7 days after due date, keep all that in mind as you work ahead. Again, as I mentioned, with from the bottom of my heart, if you came in, you're kind of stumbling right now and you're like, oh wait, I forgot and I did this and this, and we run the same class in the summer and we run it twice and sometimes 3 times in the fall. So if you're coming in and you're like, oh no, I don't know, just take a break. And on, I believe April 6th is registration day, which is in a couple days. You can drop this course and just be like, I'm going to take it in the summer when I maybe know what I need to do. And it's darn near the same course. I don't teach it. A great colleague of mine teaches it, Catherine Dendoven. It's online and she does a wonderful job. And it's basically the same course. So everything you need for me, you need for her. So take that if you're like, just do what's best for you. I've talked to a couple people and we want you to succeed. It's about succeeding and it's about enjoying the process as well. So get it in, do your work, not that hard. Learn, have some fun, share your work with your family and friends, show them what you're working on. It's pretty cool. Color, session 4, color. I love color. I love the idea of color. If you go to my house, in my little basement design studio, I have on the shelf, the only books that I have left because I clear house after a while, all books on color. You look at my little Audible and with Audible and what's the other one? Kindle, books on color. I probably have 20 books in total, only on color. I love it. It's a fascinating subject, one from physics down to ancient paints and how they created colors with certain pigments and where they got them from and how they developed until we got into the industrial age. And now all our colors come from oil derivatives. So pretty cool stuff. Enough said about me liking color. Let's get you to like color. All right. I feel like whenever I start this one, I'm like, all right, kindergarten class, let's start with the basics. But I mean, we got to start with the basics. You get to understand the basics, and we move forward. So we're talking the color wheel, as it's called. As I've read, this is the standard color wheel. In general, and in other terms, this isn't 100% correct anymore. As we find things out, some things have shifted, but it's beyond what we need to know. But just know, you can tell people well, that's a color wheel, but it's not 100% correct. And I'm trying to develop some other courses in that maybe we do a deeper dive into some of that. It gets pretty heady. But we have our standards, yellow, and it goes through the rainbow, around and back to yellow. It's cyclical, and that's why we do a color wheel. Is one leads to another, which leads to another, which in the end can lead to the final one. So that's how it works, and that's why we do that's why we call it a color circle. It's actually much different, but that we don't need to get into that, do we? No. All right. But this is where, oh no, plus the definitions come in. We have our primary colors. A primary color, yellow, blue, and red, are primary colors because nothing else can make them. They're them. No combining of other things can make yellow, blue, or red. Those are the standalones. Yeah, sure, you could find a blue stone or a red ruby or a yellow, but in terms of color bases, you have to start with yellow, you have to start with blue, and you have to start with red. Now, we go across from each one of these and we have a complementary. But what I mean is when we talk about these primaries and we get to the complementary, what we mean is nothing can make yellow, nothing can make blue, but green is made with yellow and blue. So, standard, again, grade school stuff like, oh yeah, I know that. What we have a primary, its exact opposite is called the complementary color. Complementary. The complementary color of red is green for the most part. If I got really scientific, it actually goes to here. Some of these go to a little bit more of the side than they do, but again, we're not getting into that. So we have a primary and a complementary. Every color has a complementary, and it's across from its friend on the road. They complement each other. Sometimes they look good together, and sometimes they work well together. But it's basically you have a primary, which is the color that cannot be created from anything, and then you have the intermediate, which is the complementary color, which is a direct combination of 50% blue plus 50% red equals purple, and that ends up being the complementary of yellow. And so that's how we come up with this range. You can get this broken down into how many thousands of millions of steps you want to get into. You could keep adding more steps. You could start with 100% yellow and add in 1% red. Then it's 98, then you go 98, 2, 97, 3. And then you could have 100 steps in this if you wanted to, whatever, go crazy. But so primary colors, yellow, blue, red, complementary colors, orange, green, and purple, and they lie across from each other on the color wheel when we're talking about the color wheel. Now we talk about combination of colors and color systems. And we have a few words that we use in the graphic design community. I can't say they're all batted around a lot. Some way more than others. We talk about cool colors and warm colors. But when you talk about color groupings, and there's some programs out there. There's one called Adobe Color, and one setup is triads. And triads is simply a triangle, an equilateral triangle on the color wheel that points to 3 colors that is a triad. They're always spaced equally from each other. That's why it's an equilateral triangle. And then those colors then would constitute a triad. So I have the different color settings. So the black triangle points to those ones. The magenta points to these. And this is a triad. So if you're ever doing a design and you want something cool, you can pick the triads. Oddly, one triad I love is I actually do these 3 more than I should. I love the cyan, magenta, and yellow together. I think everything kind of pops, looks cool. But you could do yellow, blue, red, purple, or green. And then think about these. This is the fun one. This is name a holiday. I'll do the one. What's the October holiday? And what are the main colors of that October holiday? Halloween, green, purple, and orange. It's a triad. I don't know why it's all fallen like that, but it just does. So you can start to see some of that. Like, you go through some holidays and see what that setup is. But a triad, as I said again, equilateral triangle along the color wheel, no matter how you spin it, where it would point to, you would end up, even if you like wanted to do in-betweens, as I talked about earlier, it's just an equilateral triangle creating the in-betweens, and it's 3 colors, and that's why it's called a triad. Analogous. Big word for meaning a bunch of colors in a row. So analogous generally means 4 to 5 colors in a row on the wheel. Wherever you start, it could be these 4, it could be these 4, but that grouping is an analogous grouping. So you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are your analogous color system, and you're using it to help, your client, and we chose an analogous color scheme. And they can range. Like, so if I go from orange to here, these are all analogous. They're right next door to each other on the color wheel, but then you have a range from orange all to this red, purple. So it's pretty rad what you can do. And this is analogous. Big word that really just means close together. They're a bunch of colors that are close together. So when you look at that, you can move, this angle wherever you want, and you pick 4 colors on that color wheel. And if you like, well, I like teal, blue, purple, or I like teal, green, blue, and yellow. And it gives you quite a variety in just 4 colors. So you can go from dark to light, light to dark, and so on. Cool and warm, probably the most talked about. You have cool colors, you have warm colors, kind of split down the middle. There are variations. You can get very technical. I can have cool yellows and warm yellows. I can make a cool blue and a warm blue when they're properly placed next to each other. But we split it down the middle into a cool and a warm area. Feelings, and I'll talk about this. This is where all that comes in. It's like, oh, I like that, the warm light. Oh, you light bulbs. This is why light bulbs, warm, because we're used to those old incandescent bulbs which somehow that color came from, not intentionally, but like a flame. A flame is a warm color, the chemical reaction that when it burns, it creates a yellow-ish flame. And then our old light bulbs, that burning filament, the glowing filament, created a warm color. Now we have LEDs that can produce more of a cool or a warm, or we can now blend in the middle, depending on light bulbs and all this jibber jabber. But in the most part, we split down the middle, and we have a warm section and a cool section. So when it's talked about and you say, oh, you probably, this client, we're going to use a warm set of colors because it's taking place in the summer. Or you can reverse that and be like, we're doing cool colors in the summer because we want this to seem refreshing. You start to talk about emotions in colors, and this is one where that really comes into play. Is it talking about emotion and color, warm and cool? How does it make you feel? These colors will make you, like the green colors in the earth, makes you feel like, like cool and refreshing, and I don't feel bad. But if you like, the desert is then, these colors, and that's like desert, and it's hot, and it's sweaty, and I don't feel good. Like how you can make people feel different ways by using warm and cool colors in a certain way. We are now going to go into some generalized blending of colors and the terminologies used. When something is monochromatic, you are using that color only, and you're using a reduction of pigment of that color from 100 being full on coverage of green here. This is 100%. I can't add any more green. And slowly I took out green as I went down till you get to here is white. No other color is in here. No other mixing, matching, or whatever. I simply removed pigment from each circle, and that is called monochromatic. Nobody else. Mono, one-on-one, chromatic, color, single color. I don't know, is that Latin or something? I don't know. So that's what we're talking about. So when we say monochromatic, we need a monochromatic design, and you do orange, and then you put in black type. Guess what somebody's gonna say? That's not monochromatic. You added black. Wow. If there's white on your monochromatic, you can say it's monochromatic because the white areas is the absence of that orange color, and 0 orange is white. You can be kind of tricky with it, and you can do beautiful things with monochromatic. I'm gonna come back, but I'm gonna show you these because you'll hear about these in groupings, and it's called tint, tone, and shade. 3 differences only: tint, tone, and shade. When somebody talks about a color and they're like, oh, that tint of the color, the tone of the color, and the shade of that color. Tint of the color is I am physically adding white to the color. So if you looked up here, see how they got transparent? Because the white of the paper is showing through. Here, I am adding in white pigment. Where's that showing up? As I remove pigment, and I move down here, I'm adding white. Just like in kindergarten. You're mixing paints together. You want a blue sky, but you want a light blue sky, you add white to it. You are creating a tint of the blue to create the color that you want. You are adding in white. This one is weird and I never use. I don't know why I never use it. I don't like the way it looks, and that's why I don't use it. But tone, you are adding, and for the sake of the definition, 50% gray into the color. So black, there's variations in black, and it goes, from 100% black all the way to white. And we generally, when we talk about a gray, and if we're talking about a median gray, we talk about 50%. So this is for all intents and purposes, is a 50% gray. And I've taken out, 20% and added in that 50%. Here to here to here. And as you can see, it changes. There's some nice looking things in here, but it's toning it down. And as you see, the difference is like this brightens the color. This tones the color down. And that's a great way to remember it, is like a tone is you're adding gray to tone it down. Now you may say like, well, I'll add black to tone it down. Look how vibrant black can be. So when you add shade, you're adding black, 100% black. So I'm replacing, again, that color with a definition of 100% black till we get to black, which would be here. And this looks desaturation. I don't want to say yes to that. I think desaturation has a far more like a bigger topic that like when you desaturate something, generally, I want to say you are removing pigment. When somebody says desaturate it, you're not adding, you're removing. And in these cases, I guess it depends on which way you're moving from in and out. That like, if I started with gray, would I desaturate to the color? I don't think so. I think when we desaturate something, when you're talking in Photoshop and you're moving your sliders and it makes it tone out, I think we're removing for the most part. I can look that up more. I'm going to keep that note and I'll look that up more and send you a note on it. So, but it's a great question. And yes, I don't know every answer and every definition. Oh, and you'll hear me later. I'm going to double up on some of these definitions and like slip. You know, it's like when you talk about typography, if anybody's in typography and you're like, you say font or you say, you know, a font or a typeface or whatever, like a bunch of them kind of overlap. So I'll double check on that for you. Great question. So last one is shade, is adding black. And you can see the difference. Like it's far more vibrant. It looks better. And that's adding a solid black. So I'm not like removing, it's not toning it down. It's creating a shade of that color. And it can be, I like these much better because it keeps that color base a little bit more. But again, it's just color. And we all have our preferences, whatever that may be. So that is the shade. So all these, this is a basic rundown. And like I said, I could have an entire class, 1 credit class based just on color. And then everybody would just glaze over. Oh, he's still talking about color. So there you go. You have it. You have that. You could take it, take the PDF that I created. It's all in there, just not marked up, like I said. So cool. And thank you for the question. Color and design, which will be a little bit quicker because we defined all that. So we're talking, when we talk about color, we're talking about visual perception resulting in the way. And this is the scientific term. Way the object interacts with light in the human eye. White light comes from the sun. We call that white light. And what's not absorbed bounces back. And we see what's not absorbed. I believe that's the correct way to say it. And so it's just an interaction. And so that's why it's so scientific. It's so different. And we can have all these definitions on how it works and how things are combined. But we're going to talk about that and then some other basics of it. Hue is another name for a color. So that's one of those double-edged swords. You know, just quick one. And we don't really say hue. I'm not really talking about hue. I just say the color. And there's a hot new word on the design mark you've probably been seeing. Oh, I should spell it right because I think it comes from Europe. Colorways. That's like the hot new thing to say instead of like, you know, we talk about a color or somebody's offering a water bottle in 7 different colors. We call it colorways now. What's the colorways for that system? Just a new word you'll be hearing pop around. Value, instead of talking about all the ins and outs of tints, tones, and shades, sometimes we just say the value of that color, the lightness and darkness. The value, can you darken that up? And we generally mean like add more pigment to it. To look better, contrast, let's lighten that color up. We need more contrast in the colors. Saturation is almost the same as value. It's the purity of a color. But this in the purity of color, we're talking like no grays, you know, are added to it. It depends on how you work. It depends on your color palette. You're eventually going to build color palettes that you go to that just naturally happen. It's your favorites. They look good to you. You work on them all the time. And it's all, you know, they're kind of all based around these 3 things. And we all do it. Eventually you will. Even when you work for a client like, you know, Coca-Cola or McDonald's and they're like red and gold, there may be areas where you stray a little bit and it's your favorite color systems and you're using different hue, value, and saturation. So saturation is, you know, purity, color, value is the lightness and darkness of the color. But again, we swip and swap these when we're designing, and it's sometimes we just talk like normal humans, because if you talk too scientific, it gets too hard. We talked about the color wheel, and I showed you all the beautiful things that happen with the color wheel. I talked about monochromatic, analogous, complementary, triadic. The role. Color has such an important role in composition, and emphasis and focal point is huge. I'm going to talk about that and most of these items here. Engaging people with color, guiding the eye with color. You want somebody to look at something, you change the color to something intense and bold, they'll look at that first. They won't be able to take their eyes off of it. So we use it for emphasis and focal point. Harmony and unity, that's when we blend colors together and we make like just this, you know, like what's the color palette you're using for your brand design, and does it look good, and like do we need the red in there with those other colors, or what is the red being used for? So in harmony and unity, color schemes are very, very important, and they help tie everything together. Mood and emotion. Colors evoke emotions. It is so weird, to think about that. And then to think that you can design something that can change somebody else's mood and emotion by the way you use colors. Warm colors, cool colors, black colors. You desaturate. You will use that desaturate to the point where it's just grays. You know, there's no color left. Oh, it just seems so dreary. It's like, you know, like you can, that's what we do as designers. We're playing with emotions. And one of the best ways to do that is with color. Get it all like, you know, it can be happy and shiny and really bright. It would make the primary colors for kiddos. They see these bright colors. And for our brooding goth kids, everything is, you know, gray and desaturated with some reds in it. I digress. I went through my goth phase as a kid. Don't worry. The other one, cultural. This is important. Different cultures symbolize colors in different ways. Red in Asian culture, in some Asian cultures, red symbolizes luck and prosperity. While generally in America, we think if you were to do something red, it's danger, blood, you know. So when you start to design, and I've had to do this in my past, is make sure the colors are right and make sure that somebody's there to be like, oh, no, let's not use red on this project. We're gonna have to change the colors because it's being shown in this other area, and that's like not a good color to use. So there are huge, like this is another one that you get a whole thing can be written about the color differences. Application, colors used in branding, advertising, digital media. Branding is so important in color. McDonald's, Coke. Why did I pick just two red ones? Starbucks. Man, red's a hot one. Target. Apple is just like gray. Anything. We know by their colors that they chose. And as a designer, when you get a brand, when you get a color, there are what we call brand guidelines that state what you can and cannot do with a brand. So like if you work for McDonald's and you have a project, you do it for McDonald's and you use the wrong red, they are going to tell you used the wrong red and you have to redo the project because it's not the right red. We gave you our brand guidelines that specifically state, and it gets crazy because you'll get like, I don't have an example right now, but you'll get like, it'll be like a square and say like, if this is the orange, you'll get a CMYK breakout, an RGB breakout. You'll get a Pantone color. You'll get, there's like web-based, there's some like other weird ones. S something. I don't know them all. So to give you the rundown, CMYK, cyan, yellow, magenta, and black. This is for print. RGB, red, green, blue. This is for digital. This is the screen you're looking at in front of your face. This is a piece. This is the book next to you on your desk. Pantone. Pantones are created Pantones are their own color, and in which you can choose a Pantone from what we call a print swatch. And we say, whenever Starbucks green can be printed, it shall be printed with Pantone 247G. And every printer knows they can go and buy a can of 247G, and it is the exact color for Starbucks. There's no messing with it at all. That is their color. Most major brands have a Pantone color, and it doesn't switch. Like, you can't change that color. Like, when it goes in the printing machine, it comes out that color. So again, way more stuff with that when you get into advertising, branding, and whatnot. Balance and contrast. Achieving balance and contrast in color. Distribution, considering contrast between colors is important. Let's get into that. Look at this rad piece. Empire of the Sun. Emphasis and focal point. What are we looking at? Oh my God, I love this piece so much. All grayed out except for the land of the rising sun. Empire of the Sun. With this plane coming through, and the plane, the crashing plane. I don't know, this is signifying ink from that culture. And then we have this color blend, which is this color blend here. Red to orange to yellow to white. Red to orange to yellow to white. Super simple, yet super effective. Like, you see this from a mile away. Like, you see this poster hanging, you know, like movie posters hanging in the city or at your local bistroplex. This poster's standing out, especially nowadays in the posters that are all just images of every actor who is in that show. This tells a story. An image of all just actors doesn't tell a story. Nike. Playing with color here. So rad. They got a little bit of everything going on. They're jumping across borders, but it works so well because they're using the color in a way to signify and help you read through and see points in the piece. Orange is the background. We have 3 green dots. I don't know what the green dots symbolize. I can't say for sure. All right. But we could say green and so we're working with complementary colors. I'm going to go with the green and the magenta are complementary to each other. The 1, 2, 3. Oh, 1, 2, 3. And then we have 1, 2, 3. So there's the complementary colors. Orange goes with this light blue. I wanted to say teal. It's not right. Light cyan. Orange and the light cyan. Nike Marathoner. And then the Nike logo's in purple, and we have the yellow 1, 2, 3. So across the board, this goes with this. This goes with this. No, wait. This goes, yeah. And then the orange. What did I say? No, the orange. Oh, the orange goes with the blue. And then the green with that. Sorry about that. Too many things going on. All right. Loving it. Here's a beautiful play illustration and where we're combining like gradients of color, but there's a beautiful mix to help discern different parts of cool and darks. We have warms to cool warms, and we have like dark cools to light cools, but they're used in such a way that we separate out these images. And if you look here, this is like this, they go down and they get smaller and smaller and smaller. So like here's the warm cool, then we have warm, then we have cool, then we have warm, then we have cool, then we have warm. So they did this also, this layer stacking on one side. And then you're like, well, what about these guys? These guys are together, they're herd. 1, 2, 3. But for the most part, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's how they broke it up. And then, you know, like we have this light here, And it's almost like daytime here and nighttime here. And it's the same design, just colors are changed for the most part. Pretty cool. Love it. Let's go abstract. Doesn't always have to be like full on, 100% normal. And then here's the funny part. This color palette is basically this color palette. Just a little bit different. And you get this oily, like this reminds me of oil coming down in this abstract pattern, and it creates interest in this piece. And that's why we do it. It's like one of those, like you stare at it and just like, wow, okay, cool. How'd they do that? I wonder why they did that. Like, and then you just like think about it. But again, same color palette as this, which is very graphic and in your face. This is a thinker. And then we go to the rainbow of colors, solid colors used everywhere. This now comes to what I'm going to talk about in your project. I want you to look around, not in your comic books, not in manga, where it's line driven, but look at graphic design pieces and start to realize no lines are left. They didn't trace everything out. There's no black lines anywhere. They removed the lines, and it makes for such a better design piece. If everything had a black line on it, it would look ugly. But here, we don't need that. The color is not going to fall out. It's ingrained in our mind that when we draw with a dark line and then we fill it in. Nowadays, this is to represent, actually in this design, I will tell you, they're kind of representing cutout paper. But in today's world, it's so easy. If you make your shape, you just turn off that line and it's not needed. The color's not going to fall out, is what I love to say. From here on out, when we do projects, I don't want lines on your project. I know we talked with line. I only want line if it's an expressive line that leads to something within the design, but I don't want it otherwise. So keep that in mind. All right. I'm in the middle of a lecture. All right. So let's talk about our projects. Oh, any other questions about color? I apologize. Sometimes I burn through those. All right, let's talk about our projects. Let me switch mice. Boop, boop, boop. Sorry, somebody came in. They're going to ask me a question. You all are more important than this silly question. All right, color research. You know what to do. You've done this twice. Maybe you've already done it a third time. Just follow the directions. Keep things aligned. Look for things getting centered. Make sure things, if you're running a line at the top, that things line up with each other, that there's space between words and images. Create a kick butt design. Start now. Oh, it's so simple. The simpler it is, the better it should be. Oh, I just have the 3 images and some text. Then it should be absolutely perfect. If that's, like if you think like that, like then make it perfect. Then it's gonna be absolutely perfect if you think it's easy to do. And it is easy to do. It's 3 pictures and some words. Do great work. Start now. Just spend some time. I think you have a couple more, and then we are going to start changing and start doing these in Illustrator and InDesign. But right now, do it in the most comfortable program you have. Like I said, PowerPoint or Google Slides, or I think somebody asked if they could start doing it in a different program. Go for it. Whatever you're most comfortable using. Just make sure you follow the process. I don't think I need to go into that one much more. The color project. All right. 6 color panels is what you're going to have. Six open blocks. And you're going to create every design based on every one. Complementary, triad, analogous, cool, warm, monochromatic. 3 colors minimum per design. And you can get tricky with that. All right? You can get tricky. Let me show you in my design. So I'm going to download this. Make sure you are using, all students, make sure you are using the design file that I supplied, as I want you to learn how proper design files are set up, how to work in layers, how to turn on, turn off, and use the layer functions. Don't shift this to Photoshop. Don't shift it to a different program. You are to use the embedded file and to learn how to use it. That's why we're doing it. I'm trying to make it easier on you. So use the files that are supplied. Make sure you're also working in the right layers. Lock them, open them. They have labels on them. If you get confused, ask me. Or here's the other one. Green is good. Red is bad. Blue is whatever. I wasn't going to make like just everything green and red. But when you're working in the layers, make sure you're checking stuff. Like examples, turn off. Even if you like click on that, turn off or delete. Like don't design in that one. Don't design in the margin. If you design in the margin, it won't show up. It's set as a template. And that little box there means template. Nothing will show up. It's just there to start teaching you where a margin is, what a margin is. Text boxes, you don't have to deal with in this one. These are them. You don't have to rewrite anything for me. The white cover is locked. Some people turn it off while designing. Some people can leave it on. Your choice, but don't design it. Your artwork here is labeled. Again, the reason I do this is you will get files from printers that look just like this. And if you send it back to the printer and the wrong things are in the wrong files, they're going to send it back to you. And in sending back to you, your print work that was supposed to go out on a certain day won't go on the correct day, which means the client will be mad. They might drop you. They might find somebody else who can do better work because you weren't able to follow the directions from the printer at hand. That is why I do this. There are consequences in the future about not understanding layers and how the files are built. You always get files from somebody else in the professional world, and you need to know how to work them. So again, don't make your own stuff. Use this, use mine, have some fun. Complementary composition. I should change that. I got to change that minimum of 3 colors. But here's where I get away from it. These are, and this isn't a gradation. There's no gradation. I simply made a box. Oh, I could teach you something. I made a box, and that's like 100% purple. And then I made a 100% yellow box. Then I made a 90% purple and a 90% yellow. And I just kind of went down the line and just created boxes. But when it's all put together, it's got this cool effect that it looks like it's a gradient, even though it's not a gradient. And it's all done with a single color. Complementary colors. So I'll let you go on that one where I said a minimum of 3 colors. This is the only one that you get away with. But I would beg the different. Like I could prove that like this yellow is not that yellow and it's different from the purple. If you take away anything right now, I'm going to teach you something. And this will make your life easier. It's a little confusing, but we're going to get through it together. I'm going to teach you how to make what is called a spot color. And the spot color, then you can automatically translate into tints. And the computer does it for you. I'm going to create a box. And I'm going to go to this fill box here, all right? Under appearance, and I have a bevy of colors. Now what I'm going to do initially is I'm going to create my own color. And I'm going to switch this to CMYK. I just like working. and I'm going to make up a color. There. Some dark teal, all right? This color right now, when I click here, is made up of 100 cyan, 38 magenta, 25% yellow, and 0 black. It's a color. Here's where the magic starts. And this is where you should rewatch this part. Part 1. I'm going to click on this color area. This is called color swatches. And at the very bottom, there's a plus. And I'm going to click this plus, and it opens this up. What do we call this? Dark teal? I'm going to rename this color so I know what it is. Then this is the kicker right here, color type. Instead of process color, I'm going to click on spot color and hit OK. So I renamed it. I hit spot color, and I'm going to hit OK. Now I have this color, right? Now when I go here, it shows up here. So no matter what color I go to, if I switch that color, if I click here, it knows that exact color. Now say I want a new box and I want a 50% tint of that color. Because it is the spot color, and if I go to this mixing palette, it now says my name, and I can reduce this by whatever percentage I want, and you'll have a perfect tint of the color that you created. I'll do it one more time. I generally create a box. It's just easy. Go to an open color or switch it to CMYK. Make your blend. I want to do like that. All right. I have my blended color. I love it. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click on the spot color. I'm going to click on the plus. I'm going to call it maroon 5. I'm going to go to spot color, and I'm going to click OK. And now it shows up here as a new spot color, and I can draw a new box. It is on that spot color, and then when I go here, I can change the tint of it. And there's 100% guarantee that that is whatever percentage of that exact color. Super cool. So along the way here, do some fun compositions. Try things out. Play around. Triad, you know, I did some tints tones, you know. This is a tint of this, and this. Like I added a little, you know. Doing analogous, cool, warm, and monochromatic. In fact, I'm going to go in that assignment as soon as we're done and remove that 3-color process thing. That was written in from something else. So I'll delete that from the assignment.
I have a question.
I was just going to ask if anybody had questions. I'm not kidding. What's your question?
So you know how you just showed us the way to make your own color?
Mm-hmm.
Are we able to do that for the monochromatic? Since
Oh, please do.
do.
Please do. Use it for everything. That's how I did this.
Okay.
That's how I made these. I mean, it makes it so much fun because I'm not kidding, folks. Like, you know, we all learn. I literally would be like, so if that was my purple, and then I'm like, okay, and then I want that lighter purple. I am not kidding you. It wasn't too long ago. I would then like open up this, and then I would sit there and I'd be like, okay, what if I move that slider, this slider a little bit, and then like I'm moving this, and I used to sit there and try to like figure out my own until one day I was like, wait, what? You can do what? And you can just automatically have a tint of that color, and you don't have to sit here, because it's even worse when it's like a 4-color and you're trying to like, you do 5, 5, and 5 less, and it doesn't look right. The computer does a way better job of it. But yes, of course, monochromatic, you're gonna have to create your own tint. So yes, exactly. Thank you for the question. Any other questions? Kind of liking getting some weird abstract 70s design here, eh? It's gonna be pretty cool, except for this puke color, taupe. All right. Last but not least, let's get through this and then I'll let you guys go. Design practice 4. We are back to InDesign. Somebody asked, it switches, Illustrator, InDesign, Illustrator, InDesign, Illustrator, InDesign, because we're working with all these different programs. This piece, CP Pinellis. I love that name. It's such a cool name, CP. Beautiful designer. You get a zip file. Again, if you're on a PC, please right click, hit extract all. Know where it extracts to. On Mac, you just double click. Open it up. There's an InDesign file. Again, this is why. When you double click on it, people are like, wait, it opened up in what? And there we are. Yes.
So when you open the file like that, all the files are supposed to be together. But this morning, my files, some of them didn't pop up. How would I fix that problem?
What do you mean by didn't pop up?
Like, so in the InDesign 3 I'm working on, only
Yes.
the person's name, his picture, and his paragraph popped up, but the other pictures didn't. How would I fix that?
Did you zoom out?
Yeah, I did. They weren't there.
So in 3, you said in 3?
Yeah, that's the one I'm.
Oh, in 3 in the Illustrator file. I'm sorry, Haley. I'm gonna bust you on this one. You didn't watch the video, did you?
What video?
There are missing pieces. So watch the end of the video.
Okay.
As we progress, I leave stuff out, and you have to put it in yourself. Oh, I'm getting tricky with you guys. That's why they weren't all there. So watch the end of the video, because that's what we're gonna do here. And I was gonna pass this one up, but I was like, no, you guys have to know how to place an image in InDesign now. So as I back out, everything's there, but her examples, right? We got a little 1, 2, and 3. So we're gonna make sure we're on layers. We're gonna look at our layers. They're all titled. I got a title, blah, 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 and examples. If I lock out examples and I select all, there's nothing there. So I lock my layers when I'm not using them. What does that help me do? It makes sure I don't mistakenly grab something and move it when I don't want to move it. All right. Again, if it helps you even more, you can turn off eyeballs of stuff that's maybe distracting to you. Some people do that and then just work and like, oh, I need this. And then you turn everything back on. However you want to do it. So how do I place images in InDesign? It is slightly different than Illustrator, but it's almost the same. I'm going to go to File, Place. It's the sizing is different. And I'm going to go to, oh, you don't see this. On my computer, I'm going to go to my downloads. I'm going to go to CP Pinellis. I'm going to go to links. An example 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to hit open. And again, just like in Illustrator, see that 3 and that image. It looks a little bit different, but it's stating I have 3 images captured. I don't know the better way to say it. Captured on my mouse. I haven't done anything. I haven't clicked yet. And all I'm going to do is simply click once, twice, and a third time. All right, here's the part. There are more than one way. There's more than one way to scale a image in InDesign. This is the best way, and it is called the free transform tool, and you have to use the shift button. So the free transform tool is right here. And let me show you why. Because I don't want this is where it gets tricky. If I'm on this select tool and I go from the side, all I did was simply crop that image. Do you see what happened? InDesign allows you to crop in a different way than it does in Illustrator. So these are two things we got to get the same. Like And we're starting super simple. So no worries. You'll get it. You have to do this for 3 images. What you're going to use is free transform tool right here. That's what it looks like. It may be hidden between under rotate, scale, or shear, but it should be here, or you can hit the letter E. So if I'm here and I have my direct select tool and I hit the letter E on my keyboard, it will automatically change to the free transform tool. Learn your shortcuts when you can. It makes it easier. This is a pretty easy one. I do have a shortcut pad that I have that programmed into. I use this every single time I use InDesign. Now to scale it, to get it to fit, I'm going to go to the corner and I'm going to hold down Shift. Never shall you scale without holding down Shift, because we don't want this. We don't want this. We don't want this. We want Shift. Shift keeps it in proportion and allows us to make sure that everything looks perfecto. So I'm just going to take that one. I'm going to zoom in, use my hand tool. Let me tell you, to move around the page is a space bar. See that hand that comes up? If I touch my space bar, no matter what I'm working on, except for type box, which you're not worried about here, I can put my hand and grab and move around. It is it's the Shift and the space bar are the 2 #1 tools I use when designing. Again, because now I went to free transform, I'm going to the corner and I'm holding down Shift again until I get it perfect. I'm going to go back to direct select, or I can just hold down the hand, hold down that space bar, but I need to grab this. And so I'm going to go to the direct select tool, grab it. Make sure you don't grab it by this guy right there. Okay. That's the center wheel of death, I call it. You grab that, you move the image around. And I go back to free transform. I'm going to hold down Shift and scale it. While it's there, I'm going to bring it back up. I'm going to scale it more. Shift, always holding Shift. One hand should always be on the keyboard holding Shift. I'm going to make sure I get it perfect. Hold that space bar, grab, hold down Shift, and I'm sliding it over to keep it aligned. And then for the final image, I'm going to move this. I'm going to hold the space bar to slide down, move up. This is how you the more bigger you work, you need to use that space bar, because in a week or two, I'm going to talk to you about posture and design and some ways to fix that, because I know everybody's sitting at a low desk, hunched over a laptop with their face 2 inches away from it, trying to see all the intricate things that are going on. So I'm going to teach you more about how to zoom in and use all these proper tools. But again, I went to free transform, and I'm just going to scale it. I'm holding down Shift. I'm going to let that go. Everything else, when you turn it on, you know how to place it. You've done it already, but that's the new steps. Any questions about placing in InDesign? And again, if you don't have questions now, send them to me. Let me know. I'm happy to answer. Somebody send me a question. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So, any questions? All right, excellent. Thank you very much. You know how to reach me, how to get a hold of me. I'm there. I'm here to help. Everything from session 2 is due today at 11:59 p.m. Else it's late. And yeah, have a great weekend. I hope you're having fun exploring, trying new things, making weird doodles. And I'll talk to you. If I don't talk to you on discussion boards, I'll talk to you on Tuesday. All right. Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.